What is up?
Hey, what's up?
How are we, bro?
How are you? How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Good, good, good.
Thank you for waiting, bro. I was just driving home from the gym then.
Oh, bro. Oh, no worries. Yeah, I just finished gym too. What you hit today?
I was in kickboxing.
Oh shit, yo, yo.
Are you from New Zealand?
Yeah, New Zealand. Yeah.
You sound like all the fighters. They're all from New Zealand. They're all like, what do you call it? Polynesian.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Polynesian. Yeah.
Can you fight?
Yeah, I'm like, of course, man, of course.
It's in your blood, isn't it? It's in your culture there.
Yo, yeah, I'm Star G.
Yeah, we've got like a fight night tonight, and so we've got so many
Yeah,
guys from New Zealand, Polynesians, and everything coming through, and like they all look like
yeah,
you basically, like big guys as well. You
bro.
have some good ass genetics, your people, bro.
Who knows? I might come over and fight you.
Yeah, man, come through. Let's do this then. So I was just reading what you were putting here. Biggest thing you're struggling with is lost masculinity, the courage to say what's on your mind, even when it affects your values. Tell me about this.
Yeah, just like the relapsing and stuff, and masculinity. That falls into like the third question. I don't know, I just act feminine for some reason, I don't know why. And having the ability to say what to my mind. I mean last week I remember when I went to the gym with my friend and I let him use you know those like earpieces and he wore one of them and he like shoved them in his ear and then I grabbed it back from him and it was like broken like gee, it was broken and I really wanted to say something but yeah. I just didn't. Yeah.
Why didn't you?
I don't know. I think I'm worried that I might hurt his feelings, but yeah,
Is
yeah.
that really it?
Mm.
Is it an out?
Oh,
Are we not talking what's on our mind because we're trying to defend other people? Or could it be that we're trying to defend ourselves?
mm. Probably, I don't know. Probably defending other people. Yeah, I think. Yeah, 'cause I just don't want them to feel bad. Yeah, I don't know.
Hmm. What happened when you spoke your mind as a child?
Um, I guess I don't know. Just get beat.
Right? Yeah, it's probably that.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't personally believe that we're not speaking our mind to defend other people. I reckon it's because when we did speak our mind when we were younger, we just got hit by our parents, and so we got like
Mm.
deconditioned out of that. Do you feel like that might be
Mm.
right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, I had the same thing, bro. I remember, yeah, I basically never spoke my mind when people wronged me, when I wanted to, defend myself, when I wanted to say something to a girl, or if someone like confronted me or something. Um, I remember that when I wanted to fire my first employee, like the first time I wanted to fire someone, I delayed it for like months because I was just scared of the confrontation. And it's crazy, like, you can hire someone, you can keep a girl, your relationship going, which you don't want to be in. So it's a really good skill to learn because, like you said, it's like you get to live out your values if you learn this skill. So the way that because I do it pretty well now, I'm able to like, sit people down and tell them. Like I fired someone like 2, 3 weeks ago, and it was actually like, it still wasn't easy. It was still uncomfortable and everything, but it was 100 times easier. Like the day I thought, oh, I should probably fire him, I fired him. It was face to face as well in person. Um, Usually I would have delayed like ages for that. The same with like saying like a girl misbehaves or something, needing to say something to her, or whatever, or just speak your mind to someone like that with like the earphone or something. Yeah, same thing, bro. So, what worked for me Honestly, there was like no special tactic or anything that clicked, like flipped the switch. You know what it was? I just realized that like that delay, like that emotion of, the fear of speaking your mind, it's not actually a productive thing. Like it's actually not on your side. Like you're not actually being the strongest version of you when you don't speak your mind. And I think you probably have the same thing as me. No offense. I think you probably lie to yourself. Like notice how when I asked you like, oh, is it to, defend yourself or to defend other people? You said other people.
Mm.
I feel like you actually believed that for a second up until it was just so clear. Like, of course, it's going to be to defend yourself, right? Because
Yep.
that's like
Yeah.
what you
Yeah.
want in life. Like, I get it, bro. I'm brown. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, our countries aren't that far apart from each other. I get it, bro. Like, so it's like, it's objectively that was probably like that was the truth to begin with. It's to defend ourselves. But I think admitting that was difficult for you because we're able to lie to ourselves and basically act like it's productive to not speak to our mind. Imagine the next time you feel this, you say to yourself, if I don't speak my mind, I'm a pussy. Because it's easy to say like, oh yeah, like oh, I'm not going to say anything just because I don't want to offend them or whatever. Because that's like that makes it easier to act like this. But we objectively know this
Yeah.
trait in us isn't actually a good thing. Because if we never, like, I'm sure you agree, if we never had parents who hit us for this, and imagine if our parents kind of encouraged us to speak up, then of course we'd speak up more when we're adults, right? It's not like a productive thing,
Mm.
but you have to make sure you're not bullshitting yourself. So the next time you find yourself in a situation like this when it's time to speak up, your brain will automatically say like, "Oh no, don't offend them. It doesn't matter anyway." Remind yourself, "No, no, no. If I don't speak up, I'm a pussy." Because then you will. It'll still be awkward, but then you will because you won't lie to yourself, saying it's productive to keep like living in this habit.
Mm.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's definitely something I should always tell myself like, yeah, if I don't say what's on my mind, then I'm a pussy. Like, yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Don't cope and say that. Oh, this is because I'm being so polite to other people or anything. Because you actually, if you were like the all powerful being in the world, you would do it because you actually genuinely think it's right to speak your mind, as everyone does, right? Because it's not like I'm saying to be an asshole or anything. But there's so many times where you have to portray your values to people. It reminds me of like, being in a relationship and if like your girl misbehaves or does something that's inappropriate, if you don't tell her, like you haven't actually established your boundaries and values, and then you can't be upset when she does it again. The same with
Mm.
friends who do something, if they break something of yours, you can't establish like your footprints in the world. And I think it's absolutely
Mm.
right to do that, especially because I can't imagine you're doing it in like a disrespectful way or anything like that. Like, so yeah, just remind yourself next time it happens because it is going to happen again. And what's going to be interesting is when it does happen, you will automatically go into your normal thinking, which is like, oh, let me protect them and let me not say anything. Remind yourself
Yeah.
from there, oh no no, like remember that thinking is actually a lie. I'm just being a pussy right now. I'm fearing like the surprise attack from my parents and I've got to just fucking overcome that.
Yep. Uh,
Let's go over these questions.
so yeah.
How do you increase your happiness even on shit days that happen for no reason, even though you're doing gratitude? Yeah, tell me about this.
Yeah, I just like out of nowhere just feel really bad. I don't know why, it just happens. Like everything's going so well, but then just one day I'm just so down. I think the only thing that really helps me is when I just spend like a lot of time at the gym, like hours, and then I'll start feeling good again and rolling the ball again. Yeah, but yeah, do you know any of other like any other ways to increase happiness instead of wasting, I mean not wasting, but like taking a lot of time out of my day just to get happy again?
Mm. What do you think happens on those days where you're not happy?
I mean, I do start work really early, 4 a.m. So I guess that kind of, I don't know, pisses me off sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. Some days you're just randomly in like a happy, joyful mood, and other
Mm.
days you're not. And what I've found is like it doesn't actually correlate with the same things that a lot of guys are chasing, like, the views and the subscribers and whatever. And so I just find it's easier to like manipulate happiness. So I like to just force myself to be happy. It's only when I
Mm.
remember to do so, but the number one way that I do that is just by smiling. Like I just like fake it, like force a smile. Sometimes I'll just forget, right? And I'm just living like NPC mode, just going to the gym, listening to music, okay, finishing the gym, whatever. And then when I remember the concept
Mm.
of like, oh yeah, like being happy and smiling is a good thing, I'll just smile like on the drive home. I'll just start smiling and I'll start like talking to myself, underneath my helmet. And I'll be like, oh yeah, you fucking did it. You're this. Come on, you like, I'm just hyping myself up. And suddenly I'm in like a happy mood. I'm like, singing and whistling and everything. And it often just takes me remembering to just turn on the happiness. Like you probably have the same
Mm.
thing as me. I'm sure most guys do. It's like you can actually just choose to be happy. It's almost like you just, on those
Mm.
unhappy days, you almost forget about it. So you're in like a bit of a miserable state. But as soon as you remember the concept of like, oh, happiness and whatever, you can just like turn it on. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but I can just like, I turn it on manually. It's like a habit for me that when I leave the gym, now I do the thing where as soon as I put my helmet on, I force myself to kind of talk out loud and to smile and to hype myself up when I'm driving back home. And I'm in like a pretty happy mood, and I'm like holding eye contact with people when I get off my bike and I'm saying hello to people. And I think just forcing the smile is a big part of that. So maybe that's something you want to remind
Mm.
yourself of. There's a phrase which is like, if we find our cheerfulness to be lost, then we must sit up and act as if the cheerfulness is there. It's basically like
Mm.
fake it till you make it. Like just fake happiness and fake a smile, and then it just turns on. Like I know it's weird, but like try it right now. Just like force a smile,
Yeah.
and then before you know it, like
Yeah.
for some reason, but within a
Yeah.
second,
Yeah.
it turns into real happiness. I'm like giggling now, bro. It's like it literally turns into real happiness within a second. And sometimes like you've spent your entire day in like a miserable state, and it's only when I
Mm.
remember the concept like of smiling, just forcing the smile,
Yep.
and then it's just like, oh sweet, it's like, oh yeah, shit, like I've got to remember to do that like 100 times a day, bro.
Literally me, man. Yeah, some days I don't even smile at all.
That's it.
Uh,
So it's you don't need a reason to smile. That's the thing.
mm.
You can just turn it on, like how you've just turned it on then. That proved that you can literally turn it on. So why not think that to yourself 100 times a day, three, four, 10 times an hour? Remind yourself to smile, even when you're working, when you're recording a video, when you're speaking to girls, when you're at the gym, when you walk past someone. Always remind yourself, and bro, you'd be so surprised of how valuable this is, not just in how you feel through the day, but just how magnetic you are. Like when I'm in those moments when I'm having like kind of like a bad, unhappy day for no reason, I know for a fact I'm admitting like this kind of ugly aura because people don't speak to me on those days. People don't hold eye contact for me. I'm in that like needy state where I'm kind of looking around at the girls in the gym and everything, and I'm judging like the guys there. But the moment that I force a smile and I walk into the gym then or whatever, that's when I notice people are looking back at me and they start to smile. And bro, it's like the easiest way to attract new girls is just be smiling in a place where there's women. And like they just gravitate to the guy who's smiling because it's just way more attractive. A lot of guys think you've got to be in this like, there's like hot like stern kind of look or some shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think so
Yeah.
just because that's the kind of like pictures that might get more likes if you look at a bit sexier. But like in person, when you smile, it makes it so easy for girls to come and speak to you. Like it's actually insane of how much it is. Like because you wrote here like what's the best advice on love life? One of the pieces of advice I'd give is smiling. It's just so easy
Mm.
to meet new girls and if you've already got a girl, then to just make it better with her. If you're in this emotional state, suddenly you're just so much more pleasant and loving, and you're holding eye contact with people. You're bringing good energy, and I think it's even like you can do this on a bad day. Let's say you woke up and like work is shit. Let's say you got an injury in the gym. There's nothing stopping you from forcing that smile. And then when you're forcing the smile and someone else smiles back at you and they're like, "Oh, how are you?" And you can smile, like you can have a smile on your face whilst you say like, "Oh, I'm not so good, like got another injury in the same spot. I kept on trying to attempt the same PR, got an injury this time." And it just makes you so magnetic Girls, like, you know how
Mm,
there's so many things you can do to improve your love life, like, the looks and the game and whatever. But this is one that, like, you don't have to learn anything more about. You just have to remind yourself about this like 100 times a day. Anything else on that?
um, that pretty much sums up everything. Yeah, just need to smile more. Yeah.
It's so easy, bro. I forget it for like days at a time sometimes. And it's like I've got that dark cloud above me. I feel like you can relate to that. It's like, yeah, you're still
Yeah.
showing up, going to the gym, whatever. And you could be in a happy mood if someone else kind of turned it on. That's what it often is. I
Mm,
think that's why the gym feels quite good to go when you're not in a happy mood, is because you're around other people. And it's usually when you get someone else who just happens to be in that happy state who smiles at you and then puts you in that happy state as well. But what's beautiful is like you can literally just turn it on yourself. The biggest thing I found as the constraint is to remind yourself to do it because you almost forget. Like it worked instantly when I told you to smile, but then we haven't used it again since then, like 2, 3 minutes ago. So now it's like we're back to
mm.
our normal like energy. Now if I tell you, okay, just fake the smile again, like just make another fake smile, and it turns back.
Yeah.
We've got to remind
Yeah.
ourselves to do that literally like every few minutes, right? Imagine the habit can be like we're in the gym, every time we've put the weight down for a rest break, we just force a smile. And sometimes it feels a bit psychopathic to do that around other people. So the way that I do
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
personally is like I check my phone. So I think I have all the notifications disabled anyway, but like I'll press my phone. There's nothing ever on my lock screen, but I'll just like almost pretend that there's something that's made me smile, just because it makes like normies feel more comfortable if like you don't just like
Mm.
you're not just there and then you
You're just
smile
like,
for no reason.
yeah.
So I check my phone. There's nothing ever on my lock screen, but I'll just like smile, put my phone down, and then it's like it doesn't feel as like socially weird to start smiling out of nowhere, if
Mhm.
that makes sense. So if I find myself like walking into a place with that dark cloud above me, and then it feels kind of like there's something stopping me from just smiling right now because I've already set the first impression. I check my phone. Sometimes I actually like will go on WhatsApp. I'll message someone something funny. I'll usually I'll message a friend about something that happened, or maybe I'll remind him of something we used to laugh at or whatever, and then I'll carry that smile forward. And you know what's interesting? Every single time I do this, because it's always the same friend I message, I'm so used to this where I look up from the phone and there's a girl smiling at me already. That's happened at least like 50 times in the last like 2 months. It's insane of how often that exact thing happens where I walk in with a dark cloud, I remind myself to smile, but I just feel like I can't because like people have already seen me and like I can't just like start smiling. So I message my friend Sam, and there's always then it's like the moment I'm smiling whilst looking at the phone and I look up, I notice that I just have this attractive aura around me, which makes it so easy. Usually what I do is I just kind of like wave like this to the girl who's like smiling at me, and I go speak to her or something. The dating life feels so easy once you know this kind of tactic, because it takes you out of that dark cloud, like like the twitchy overthinker who's just kind of like overthinking and second guessing what to say and looking at people and judging them negatively. It's very unattractive aura. This puts you in a really nice kind of energy. Then let's go number 2. Tips on increasing brotherhood when you move into Adonis' house. Yeah, cool. Where is this going to be? Is this the Texas one?
Um, no, this is wait, Texas one?
Yeah, there's a couple of guys I spoke to who are going to do one in the US. Are you going to do a Bali one?
Oh
Or...
no. No, it's just in New Zealand.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, there's loads of guys doing it. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
When's it happening?
Yeah. So we're gonna move in actually in 3 weeks' time because one of the boys is on a road trip. But yeah, we're just saving up at the moment and yeah, just gonna move in. Yeah.
Awesome. And what's your goal for that period?
To have a successful business. Yeah.
Okay. Tips to increase brotherhood. So I'd say the first one, carry the same thing, which is forcing the smile. Because again, you walking in with that energy, you can just imagine, bro, be the happy guy who's there. makes it so much easier because how many guys are going to be there, by the
What was that? Sorry.
way? How many guys will be there?
Just me and two other guys.
Okay, right. So not a big group, but still, yeah, like it just makes you magnetic, bro. So I went to Thailand and lived in a villa with two guys in 2022, like the self-improvement style. And I'm pretty disappointed by my performance there because I wasn't in like the happy kind of energy. I was in more, kind of like judgmental energy. Like I was judging the two guys I was with a lot. And I shouldn't have because I already knew they were more, like less advanced than I was on this journey. And I think one of the reasons why was because I wasn't using this kind of tactic. I went in with more of what I thought was like that masculine, kind of stern kind of look. And I actually don't think that's even masculine. I don't think that's even good, bro. When I imagine, like, let's say Andrew Tate or something, he's still like giggling and laughing with his boys. All these guys are. And I wouldn't want to be the kind of guy who isn't laughing and smiling. Because I literally just have a better experience of life when I do that. So sure, there's things we can talk about specifically with brotherhood, which is like, yeah, like work hard and stuff. But I think some of the basic things. I think it's just about the energy you're admitting and the thoughts you're thinking. If you're like me when I was going in with that kind of stern, serious look, trying to be like masculine, then that makes you kind of like ugly. And then also the other thing is like, what are your thoughts of the guys who are there with you? If you view them as kind of like not so much competition, but if you view them as almost like bad people for the mistakes that they make, they'll kind of like sink away from you. You need to view them as amazing people, like almost like you idolize them, because that will make you act really receptive towards them. And it shouldn't be like trying to, elevate your status above theirs and trying to like, be cool or anything. Oh, one sec, bro.
I thought it was talking.
One sec.
Hello, good morning,
Hello.
sir.
Oh,
Nice package. Thank you very much. Good
that's
morning.
it. Bye-bye. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, it shouldn't be about like basically the energy I get into, which doesn't work well, is I um I become kind of judgmental. I see guys what they're doing wrong, and I kind of start negatively judging them for that. And that's what creates kind of distance from one another. It makes people not want to hang out with you as much. It makes people not want to show you that side of themselves. So there should be more like positive thoughts about them. So you know how you mentioned like the gratitude, right? I would start gratitude journaling about the guys who are there. I start something called like um let's call something new impressed journaling, where you write down what you're impressed by those guys. So let's say, I know it's probably not the case, but let's say you're moving in with like an obese guy, right? It would be so easy for us to like think this guy's a fucking pussy and everything, right? And if we do that, we're
Yeah.
actually going to create like quite a lot of like negative emotions in the household. And if we, this was like the olden days and we were all going to war and we had to be next to each other, okay, fine. But when you have freedom to be with who you want to be, suddenly like that those kinds of thoughts will push people away. So instead, I do the exact opposite, where I'd force myself to do what I'd call like impressed journaling, where I'd write down, okay, how am I impressed by Jack today? And even if he's a fat motherfucker, I'd say the fact that he only ate 3,000 calories instead of like 5,000, the fact that like when he wanted like the third dessert and we told him not to, he actually didn't. Because the normal version of me would think this guy's fat as fuck and that he had two desserts today and that's disgusting. But this version of me that's doing this activity would have been like, oh, fair enough. Like actually, like I'm impressed. I'm looking out for things that are good for him. Just like when we're doing gratitude journaling, we're looking out for things that we can feel grateful for. This will make your energy towards these guys so attractive that they'll want to be next to you because you'll just make them feel like, like they're actually, they're putting in some work. Because there's going to be some areas most likely that these guys are kind of not amazing at compared to you, nowhere near. And it's so easy to like judge people for that. So if I see a guy with like a pretty shit physique, I can't help but to judge him negatively. And then it's just like we end up not becoming friends because I know that he can sense that through my like subconscious body language and the ways my eyes look at him, I know he can tell that I don't like him. But then I've actually had some happy days where I've met some guys who aren't in shape and they're fucking awesome guys. And they've literally like, they're so far ahead of me in some other area that they could have judged me for that as well. And then I'm like, okay, fair enough. Just because someone's not in good shape doesn't mean that like they don't have anything special about them. So maybe if you want to do this like a few times a week, maybe I'll send you this document so you can remember. But maybe you bring yourself a journal, title it with Impressed Journaling, and write about that. And then along with this, actually, I think daily/weekly celebrations is what I've just said to my coach today that I think is quite important for men to do. Gather around on a schedule and celebrate the wins that you got and the effort that you've put in. And this goes really well, like, it depends if you want to do it or not, but this goes really well with things like what men join for, which is like for food, campfires, alcohol, smoking. These things are usually like especially alcohol and smoking, it's like kind of like a bad habit. But there's a reason why basically all of the strongest men of history basically drank and smoked and stuff. There's a reason why all of them did. All of them stayed up late and like partying and drinking ale and shit. Because it's like, I was saying this to my friends and I was like, as guys, bro, we're not going to invite each other. Like, oh, hey, bro, do you want to like look at each other in the eyes and talk about what we're grateful for? We're not going to do that. It's gay as fuck, right? We need like something of like, oh, hey, do you want to go get a drink? Oh, do you want to smoke a cigar or something? Do you want to go get coffee? Coffee's a bit more still of a bit of a gay one. Like, it's like, if we're in the professional setting, okay, fine. Oh, let's go get coffee before work. Okay, fine. But it's more of like, when you got freedom, like I live in Bali now, it's like girls go out to get coffee together. As guys, like I went to get a protein shake with my coach yesterday. It just felt kind of awkward, like we were facing each other talking, and I was like, I just noticed, I was like, yeah, this isn't even fun at all, bro. It's like, I'll see you back in the gym, bro. Even with eating is obviously fine, but I found that that's not completely ideal because of the actual act of like eating and stuff, whatever. But yeah, something like nighttime, 7, 8, 9 p.m. You all smoke or you all drink like a tiny bit, or you make like a campfire or something, if like close to the house if you possibly can, if you got like a back garden or something, and then you just like take turns to talk about the wins and to basically praise each other and to hype each other up, and then maybe talk about like what the struggles are, talk about the ambitions and goals, and remind yourself of the greater goals. Like every man has to say his piece, and he has to not only talk about this week, but then kind of say out loud the great goal that he's working towards. So it might be like, oh yeah, guys, like I went to kickboxing. I did like 10 sessions this week with my coach. Oh yeah, sweet, that's awesome, that's awesome. And yeah, the big thing for me is that fight. I've been telling you guys I'm going to do a fight in like 4 months' time, and I'm kind of like reminding myself of that whilst also, including you guys in the vision of my life. And I think that'll be awesome for your brotherhood. It's like you guys are being held accountable to the standards that you've kept for each other. And you're also just like having a time to kind of cheers each other, to be like, oh, bro, respect, man. Like you really did well this week.
Wow. I love the insights. I never really thought about this. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Why do I feel like a pussy? Why do I feel and act like a pussy when I'm around masculine figures such as my father and elderly men that I respect? Because we are, bro. Honestly, like we are pussies compared to these guys, bro. I've got no advice for this one. It's like, fair enough. Like I feel the same way. My dad sent me a picture yesterday. He sent me like a video. Like he's into hand reading. So he gets his like hands read or something. It's a weird thing that he's into, right? And he sent me a video of like, oh yeah, if your hand has this sign, then you're one of your children are gonna become really successful. So then he showed me like the sign and sent me a picture of his hands. I was like, fucking hell, he's got like dad hands, bro. I was like looking at my hands, like why do my hands look like a little girl's hands compared to them big fucking stubby? One of this finger here, it's chopped off down there, because he lost like the tip of his finger in his work and stuff, and I was like, that's cool as fuck, bro. Like I'm here with my little cute little like, like prepped hands with no scars and stuff, like little faggot, bro. Like fair enough. I don't think that's a bad thing, bro, because if you felt like this around everyone, okay, that's a bad thing. That's like social anxiety. I feel the same way when I'm around men who are stronger than me, greater men. I feel like it's so interesting because when I'm around like the boys, I'm usually, you could imagine, like the highest tier guy of like the guys I hang out with. It's just the nature of like being like a big influencer. People just like see you as above them, no matter who it is I meet. But then when I'm around a guy who's like higher than me, it reminds me of like high school again, of like I'm almost observing his body language to copy him. Like I almost have forgotten that that's a thing, of like,
Mm.
changing what I'm gonna say, um, standing in a different way, those kinds of things. It's like I'm just so much more awkward next to someone. It's not that it happens often. It just happens with people who have like very strong magnetic kind of energy, who are like the king of the space. So the um the owner of the gym here, they're all from New Zealand here, but yeah, he has like dad energy. Like he's like basically the father, like the surrogate father for all these fighters. Super confident, walks in, handshakes with everyone. He knows everyone, right? And I found
Mm.
myself like kind of stood next to him one day, rehearsing what I was gonna say, and I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, I've not been like that for, like, it's quite normal to do that, but I've, like, not been like that for fucking ages. Like, thinking about what I'm going
Mm.
to say. I don't think about it with girls, with guys that I spend time with, I do, like, calls and videos and stuff. But it's quite rare for me to feel that. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. He's got, like, that kind of, like, high status energy. This is his kingdom, basically, of course. So that, and then some other YouTubers, like Chris Williamson. He's, like, this big podcaster, and with him as well, I felt the same thing. I felt like the twitchy kind of like little brother energy next to him. And I still feel it with my dad, with my big brother. I'm kind of like a little bit more awkward. I'm preparing what I'm going to say and everything. I don't think that's actually a problem. I think it's I think it's only a problem if you feel bad about it. What I would say is just try and reframe it. The next time it happens, how we do this thing here, like the impressed journaling. If you just keep
Mm.
yourself in that kind of beta male energy, it's like a bad thing. If you remind yourself of how much you respect these guys and how impressed you are by them, then it turns into like an honor for them. Do you see what I mean? Like there's two versions of you from their eyes. It's like the twitchy version of like they look at you as like the young generation and oh he can't even speak straight, whatever. But then there's the version of them where they think, oh, he's like a respectful young man, because you've actually said to them like, wow, like that's amazing. Like you're able to say things to them like, oh, that's so cool that you've done this. Wow, I really respect you, dad. I really respect you. You say this to them. Because then they don't see you as like the stupid little kid who's like twitchy. They just see you as like the respectful young man who hasn't gotten his stripes yet, but he's on track to. And they like him because he's just super respectful. So just try and remember which energy you're in. I think once again, this sort of like being impressed by people, that's like a completely different energy from being intimidated by people. I want to use this as well, actually, because when you find yourself in that overthinking kind of mode and you don't know what to say, you feel a bit twitchy. If you stay that way, it's just not nice, bro. It's not a fun experience for you. You don't make a good impression. You seem kind of like distant, like like an NPC who's like kind of like copy pasting a sentence because you've had to rehearse it in your mind. But when you put yourself in the impressed energy and you get to say to yourself like, oh yeah, like this is a really strong guy. He's done amazing work. I hope to do something like that as well. Then it makes it so easy for you to kind of look them in the eyes and say like, oh, like congratulations. I was thinking about what you did, like with you've built this entire gym. It's really awesome that you've done that. I really respect that. Suddenly, it's like you went from this kind of energy to more like this, because the
Mm.
son doesn't often, a young son almost never looks to his dad and says like, oh, thank you, dad, like, respect. But it's when the son grows older, he's 20, 25, 30 years old, and he's able to look at his father like man to man and then say it, that's when like the sort of power dynamic kind of like neutralizes. And I think you'll actually feel better because you'll start being invited to like the men's club and the men's conversation when you talk like a man. Right now, what I'm sensing is, and it's the same for me as well, like just you're in like son energy, like boy energy, which is that we look up to daddy, we look up to those, and we just see them as higher tier human beings. And the moment you not put them down, but actually express how much you are impressed by them, that's interestingly when you rise yourself up, because it takes a certain level of man to be able to look to another man and say, "Oh, that's impressive. I respect you for that." So it's not like we're pulling him down, because that's also a bad thing as well. Like sometimes my brain, like it was today as well. There was a bunch of the guys from New Zealand, big Momoan motherfuckers, like huge. All of you are fucking 6'5", 200 pounds, bro, big guys, right? And I found myself like shit talking them in my mind, and I knew it was a bad thing. And I was like, it was interesting. I was like, oh, why is that happening? And I was like, oh yeah, because it feels like this. Because like in this space, I'm just some cute little YouTuber, right? These are all professional fighters. And when it feels like this, I'm trying to bring them down to my level. But that's not fair because they don't deserve that. And I felt like it was only when I was riding back, so I didn't get the opportunity to do it there. But I was like, oh yeah, like what I should have done is done this. Not through like me trying to show how great I am, but from me taking an interest in them, from me hyping them up, and that actually elevates your status amongst men. So yeah, that's probably what I'd suggest. I think that's something that you'd utilize.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's definitely gonna change everything about how or when I'm in the vicinity of like my father and like yeah, older men. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, man. I've got to shoot off to the next call in a minute. Let's go through these
Okay.
last two very quick. Best advice on love life. Are we talking attracting a girl or already in a relationship or?
Oh, just attracting. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the exact same thing, bro. The smiling, I think that could be like the big thing you focus on for the next week or so, and just see it'll work wonders for you in like three of these areas that you've asked about. Same thing, man. And then we've also got the module on attraction, for the
Mm.
full wife guide. Have you watched that one?
Yep. Yeah, I watched it. Yep.
Yeah. That's all you need, bro. Just the knowledge in there, and then just put yourself in a good energy. That's it. Are you struggling with like, okay, you speak to girls, it's not going well, or you find struggling with like even finding girls in the first place?
Um, Honestly, no, I just forgot. I mean, I didn't know what else to ask, so I just asked that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, all good. Yeah, just use the smile tactic again, bro. That's a nice little boost for you there. And the final one, stuttering and saying a lot. Any practices we can teach to remove those things? Yeah, so it's kind of like a twitch, like a bad habit, in the same way, let's say, of fighting, right? So everyone has like a bad habit with fighting, which is, they'll hands are supposed to be up here, but then they'll drop them to pull up their shorts, even though they didn't need to. I realize mine is me wiping my nose. Yeah, there's probably like a bit of sweat there, but you don't actually have to wipe it. But of course, it's like it's slightly pulling you off, right? I do that, so I'll like throw a hard hit and I'll kind of do this first, and then I'll bring it back. And everyone has like a little twitch like that they end up doing. And when we speak, it's the same kind of thing as well. So the way you'd stop it in our speaking is the way that you'd stop it in fighting, where you just have to shine the light on it. And imagine you're training with a coach, and he's like, don't do your hand like that. Nope, don't do that again. Don't do that again. Don't do that again. You're like, oh yeah, fuck, fuck, fuck. Okay. Then you practice. Okay, the 1, 2, and then for the first time you didn't do it, and you're like, oh sweet, nice. Okay, perfect. But then when you do the 1, 2, 3, then you do it again. It's like, okay, we have to do it after that one, after that one. So just like something like this is all about the intention. If you just remind yourself and stay aware of the times you do it, then you'll do it less. And then just don't get upset because you'll do it less today in this kind of conversation. But then when you're speaking to your father, you might notice you're saying it a lot. But that's just like us doing the next movement of a fighting combo. 1, 2, 3, low kick, and then I touch my nose again. It's like, oh yeah, sweet, don't remember to not do it after that. We have to almost eliminate it from all of the combinations, and then it's gone. Just the same way you have to eliminate these from all the kinds of people you speak to and all the kinds of conversations and words or whatever. Maybe there's a certain type of conversation where you say this a lot more with, like, if it's this dynamic where I'm asking you questions, oh, how does this feel, whatever. So yeah, it's not a big of a deal, by the way. I would tell you if it was bad, you say it to a normal amount that it doesn't feel annoying at all. So I wouldn't even say that this is a problem. But if you do want to have some like really amazing speaking skills, yeah, keep the intention in your mind, keep it in your mind the same way that we'll keep like smiling in your mind. And then you'll find it'll just start going down. The only disclaimer I'll give you, just I've got to shoot off, is like, try not to get pissed off at it, because I found it can get worse for people when they're trying to reduce it. because it turns into like a weird Tourette thing where they're like, they'll say, and then they'll like kind of twitch a little bit and be like, oh, I shouldn't say that anymore. And it's like, from it being like a 0.5 second it turns into a fucking 2 second little spaz of them like apologizing and whatever. So when it happens, literally don't even think it like it's a big deal. You'll kind of be aware of it and then just try and like neutralize it the next time.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Thank you for your time, Hamza. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you making that video about Adonis School, bro.
No worries, no worries.
Nice
Sweet.
one. Sweet. I'm gonna shoot off.
All right, cheers.
Nice talking to you.
Yo.
Bye.
All right. See ya.